very beginning, I was building my trays so that that top tray, you could watch the sublimation happening. So in this little snippet, maybe 15, 20 seconds of video, I slowly go around that tray and you can actually see the dried cannabis and you can see the leftover ice that's still there. I found it more effective to have heat on both sides of the tray so you can no longer look down inside. Unless you want to have yours built with viewing from the top, you could do that. Anyways, so we're offering a couple of different small freeze dryers. One's that's a 10-gallon freeze dryer and one that's a 15-gallon freeze dryer. Now, conventional freeze dryers, when you look at their chamber, they're on their side, right? And down that chamber, they put in 4 or 5 trays right down inside that chamber. What we've done, because of the way that solution freezing technology works, is that chamber is on its side, okay? There's no air inside solution freezing technology. We use vaporous nitrogen, gaseous nitrogen, liquid nitrogen to control the process of freezing, so it's a completely dry environment. That's something that I got really hooked on back in 2015 when I was building microprocessor chip coolers. Anyways, so that was the birthplace of solution technology. So inside a solution freezer, as you see behind me over here, sorry, I'm looking in the camera. As you see behind me over here, that environment is controlled with pressurized nitrogen, heaters, and so forth. In our systems, we use the entire footprint. Now think about those other freeze dryers that are sideways. In our system, we use the entire footprint, same spacing, right? All the way down the chamber. So the next video that's going to pop up is going to be a little video with sound, and you can actually hear and see the vaporous nitrogen creating a swirl, which is what happens inside of the vacuum chamber. So things are done quite a bit differently when you're using this type of cooling. And because I've been doing it for a long time and have spent my passionate hours of the night freezing things with vaporous nitrogen, I've been able to produce this. Inside of one package, there's a cabinet, which you see behind me here. There's a vacuum chamber, which you'll see in a little bit of video, and you've seen in other videos. You'll get a vacuum pump, which is a diaphragm vacuum pump. That's a very important part of freeze drying, not only because with oil pumps, you have to continuously maintain them by adding oil and flushing the oil and so on and so forth. But you can get oil into the chamber if you don't have it set up properly. With non-maintenance pumps, that's exactly what they are. Non-maintenance diaphragm vacuum pumps. You get your heated trays, and the cool thing about the solution technology is that it's all process controlled. So let's say I wanted to do a really fast freeze dry. The best way to do a really fast freeze dry is freeze that stuff really fast, right? Warm it up to 0, not to melting, but warm it up to 0 really fast under vacuum, and it's amazing what happens to the ice, okay? It's watts. It's all about watts. Watts up, right? If you can put more watts, it's like taking a block of dry ice and throwing it into a hot pan. That dry ice is gonna go, it's still gonna be minus 90 degrees wherever it's dry ice, or it's minus 74 degrees, I'm sorry, wherever the dry ice is, right? But since it's getting pumped full of watts from that pan, that ice is sublimating super fast. Doesn't turn to liquid. Of course, it skips the liquid stage. So that's what freeze drying is. You make ice turn into basically dry ice. Anyways, so you can set it on a continuous loop to go to minus 6 degrees, back up to 0, to minus 6 degrees, back up to 0, minus 6 degrees, and use maximum wattage of the heat. Or you can set it to go on a longer loop, a more efficient loop, you can do whatever you want. I'm not the scientist. I'm not the freeze-drying scientist, other than I figured out a better, I don't want to say better. I figured out a faster way to do it. And now that liquid nitrogen has become less expensive, it is a cost-efficient way to do it. Because with cannabis, you're not freeze-drying bananas, so to speak. You're freeze-drying something that has a lot of value in the end product. So if you can freeze 5 pounds of, freeze-dry 5 pounds of bananas in one load, that's one thing. But if you can freeze-dry 5 pounds of cannabis in one load, that's a completely different matter.